God has endowed the British race with a worldwide empire, that they may execute his sovereign purpose in the world. The victories you will have over the heathen are the victories of the nobler soul in man.
God save the Queen!
God save the Queen!
All right, chaps, I'll end it there. I just had to get some stuff ready in the background. Right, sound good, everyone? Yeah, okay, that's the test. Everyone okay with the sound? Give me a thumbs up in the chat if everything's okay. Nice, good. Right, we're not having a repeat of the last time then. Right, okay. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the how do we say it? Beginning of the end, or is it the end of the beginning? I don't know. we'll find, won't we? I mean, it's a matter of time now. It seems that something I said a year ago, and I wish I had the video to actually bring it up. I said, well, you know what? I believe that they're going to use Charlie Big Potatoes, aka Christopher Kearney, as a reason to proscribe PA. And a year later, lo and behold, what has happened? What have we got? We've got MPs standing up in Parliament calling for patriotic alternative to be banned. Right? And now we have newspaper articles, like several, in fact. I mean, the Times one is the most important, actually, if we're looking at it. The Times saying that we should, that there have been calls for Charlie Big Potatoes, aka Chris Kearney, to be the reason for the banning of patriotic alternative after his admitted now. You remember a month ago, Charlie pleaded not guilty at his plea trial. His plea hearing. He pleaded not guilty. And less than a month later, he's decided to change his plea. He's now admitted to the 2 counts of disseminating a terrorist publication. And we've got some more info on that, actually. I'm going to go over some of the articles today, and we're going to go over Mark Collett's response to this news on his live stream he did yesterday. Fuck's sake. And that was Garalt being a dickhead. Yeah. So basically, I've got to go through all that. So where do we begin, right? So shall we go over the... Fuck's sake. Is there something wrong here? Like, has it been... Is there something wrong here? Like, is there a reason you're ringing me? Is there something wrong here? Like, is there a reason you're ringing me? Well, is there something wrong here? Like, is there a reason you're ringing me? Well, is there something wrong here? Like, is there a reason you're ringing me? Okay, that's echoing. Fuck's sake. Right, okay. Stop being dickheads. Trying to fucking troll me. Okay, so right, yeah, let's go. Let's continue then. Right. Let's go. So we'll go with not that one. Let's go with the ferret, shall we? Let's start on the ferret. This isn't the original one, I believe. But yeah, let's go with the ferret. So a far-right activist who co-hosted a podcast with prominent members of Patriotic Alternative Scotland has admitted to sharing terrorist materials with his followers. Christopher Thomas Kearney, better known as Chris Kearns, pleaded guilty to 2 offences of disseminating terrorist publications on Wednesday, the 1st of March, according to media reports. Kearney, alleged former member of banned terrorist group National Action, could face up to 15 years in prison. He reportedly shared with social media followers a stash of documents which included the manifestos of far-right terrorists, including some who committed mass murder. Patriotic Alternatives said it was a complete lie to suggest Kearney told followers to read terrorist materials. Well, he wouldn't have posted the bloody link then, would he? The Ferret reported Kearney previously hosted the Patriotic Alternative podcast alongside a group Scotland organisers, West Lothian-based Simon Crane and Skye-based Kenny Smith. Campaign Against Anti-Semitism has said the podcast, which featured convicted criminals and extremists, is at the heart of the far-right group's multimedia strategy, aims to indoctrinate listeners. Scottish Greens, which recently called on the UK Home Secretary Sulla Braverman to take action against PA, said the consequences of inaction would be unthinkable, particularly for communities that these groups target. We previously reported Kearns' apparent aspirations for UK-wide group, which emerged in a leaked voice recording. I want a cult, said Kearney. I want fanatics. I can't do a Liverpudlian accent. Sorry, I can't do a Scouse accent. People who are willing to die for this cause. That's the level of commitment I want and expect. We want a hardcore group of people who know exactly what they want. It's that simple. Actually, I have have actually got the video here of that. Where is it? Let's go. Here we go.
Unwashed, you fundamentally misunderstand a few things. I'll explain. First of all, you used cult as an insult. I want a cult. I want fanatics. People who are willing to die for this cause. That's the level of commitment that I want and expect. Second of all, as for the way you do that is by getting people to you reach out and you network and you speak to people and you work with other groups. No, you really don't. These other groups will want compromise, they will want deviation from the ultimate truth, and they will in the end dilute our message and take us off course. We want a hardcore group of people who know exactly what they want. It's that simple.
There we have it from the man's mouth himself. So where were we in the Ferit article? Okay, so Kearney's offences. Kearney entered his plea at London's Old Bailey by video link from Chelmsford Prison, according to a report from the Press Association news agency. The offence is related to 2 Telegram posts he shared in 2021, which included links to some 89 extreme right-wing documents. Among them were the manifestos of a man who murdered 77 people in Norway and another who killed 51 at a mosque in New Zealand. Defending Kearney in court, Jed O'Connor said the far-right activist pleas were on the basis he was reckless as to whether the effort of his conduct was encouraged terrorism. Press Association reported, however, prosecutor Naomi Parsons told the court that the Crown's case was consistent with intent. Judge Richard Marks KC said Kearney's motivation will be decided at a 2-day hearing on May 4th and 5th before being passed sentence. Kearney was remanded in custody until the next hearing at the Old Bailey. He was arrested in Alicante in Spain, police in March 2022 under a warrant obtained by the UK Counter-Terrorism Command. Prosecutors reportedly accused Kearney of posting content which encouraged followers to take direct violent action against non-white people. Kearney was extradited from Spain in September under the order of Spanish ministers and arrested by counter-terrorism officers had he reached the UK. He was then charged and first appeared at Westminster Magistrate Court on September the 9th before being remanded in custody. Spain's National Court reportedly said that if Kearns was found guilty in the UK, he should return to Spain to serve his prison sentence. Scottish Greens MSP Maggie Chapman said these kinds of violent and disturbing publications are no place in our politics, nor do these that would disseminate them. Their allegations underline the extremism at the heart of patriotic alternative. The rise of far-right groups in the UK cannot be ignored, and we must all stand against it. What they represent is bigotry, division, and hatred. The consequences of inaction would be unthinkable, practically, for the communities that these groups target. Patriot Alternative spokesman said, Chris Kearns' charger hates him sharing a link on Telegram to a library of over 10,000 books, which include titles of fitness, homesteading, and gardening, plus novels. Less than 1% of the books in the library were considered right-wing. The library also contained left-wing books. What a bowdery, you know. There is no evidence to suggest that Chris had read all 10,000 books in the library or even knew all nature of all 10,000 books. Under no circumstances did Chris tell his followers to read the manifestos of far-right terrorists. This is a complete lie. The Ferret revealed in February 2021 that PA supporters posted racist and anti-Semitic comments, disturbing images in a private group on Telegram. An undercover probe by the Ferret later revealed that the leading figure in Patriot Alternative Scotland used another private chat group to recruit neo-Nazis who posed with weapons, shared a bomb-making manual, quoted mass murderer, and said members should kill for the greater good. We recently reported that the government suggested that Police Scotland coordinate a meeting regarding patriotic alternative and online radicalisation as part of a scheme which aims to stop terrorist attacks. February's protest in Erskine, Renfrewshire, against asylum seekers, organised by Patriotic Alternative Scotland, was attended by people from England with past links to National Action. A member of Patriotic Alternative who attended the protest in Erskine was also filmed at a riot outside the hotel accommodating asylum seekers in Merseyside. That's you, James Costello. You're famous. So that's one article. Let's read another, shall we? Because I think the wording is actually rather important between these lot. Where was that was the one. Yes, this is the original one, I believe. No, that's the original one. Actually, no, it's not. This is the Liverpool Echo. Okay, right. This is the Liverpool Echo. This has slightly different wording and is a bit more informative on what actually was shared. Okay, no, I don't want to sign up for your fucking newsletter. Go away. Okie dokie. Alright, okay, so alleged far right fitness guru of a British group known as Patriotic Alternatives has admitted sharing a stash of terrorist documents on social media. Christopher Thomas Kearney, 38, originally from Liverpool, based in Alicante before he was extradited from Spain, to face charges last September. On Wednesday, Kearney, who was known online as Charlie Big Potatoes, pleaded guilty to 2 offences and disseminating terrorist publications. Kearney, who entered his plea at the Old Bailey by a video link from Chelmsford Prison, is believed to be the first member of Patriotic Alternative to be convicted of terrorist offences. The offences relate to 2 Telegram posts on January 23rd and March 8, 2021, where disseminated dozens of documents glorifying and encouraging extreme right-wing terror attacks. Jed O'Connor, defending, told the court Kearney's pleas were on the basis he was reckless as to whether the effect of his conduct was to encourage terrorism. However, prosecutor has said that it's consistent with the Crown's intent. Okay, so Judge Mark C. issued Kearney's motivation. Same thing, we on the 4th and 5th of May. In 2021, he posted, this is where we get into a bit more detail, he posted numbered list and links to some 89 extreme right-wing documents. Among them were manifestos of Andreas Breivik and Brenton Tarrant. And 2 other far-right extremist manifesto related to Texas Walmart mass killer Patrick Crusius and John Earnest, who shot people at a Californian synagogue in 2019. Okay, so what can we take away that's different? A bit more information. There were 89 extreme right-wing documents, right? That was what Charlie or Chris has pled guilty to sharing this list. But the thing is, he posted a numbered list. 89 extreme right-wing documents. Now, here's the interesting thing. If we're going from what PA have just said in their response to the ferret, that it was a Telegram group of over 10,000 books and articles on different things, right? Why is their defense here not saying that Charlie linked to the Telegram page of over 10,000 documents, and yes, there was 89 extreme right-wing documents? Where is the defense saying, in Charlie's case, that that is the case? All I see here is he posted a numbered list and links to some 89 right-wing documents. Now, this says to me that he has shared the documents via a link to said 89 documents because they're numbered. Why would if it was over 10,000 books, why is these numbered documents only go up to 89 and not 10,000? Why is this suggests it's on a separate post, right, that he has shared to these documents, that the post itself would contain the 89 extreme right-wing documents, not the other 9,911, right? That to me says that this was a post of it by itself, a numbered list of documents in a single post that Charlie has linked on his page, not once, but twice, on 2 occasions, a month apart. So, let's see what Patriotic Alternative have to say about this, shall we?
I do have
Oh,
concerns.
that's the wrong one, but we'll get back to you later, sir. Okay.
We're going to move on to another issue. This is a little bit different. It's very serious, and some of you will be tuning in to hear about this specifically. It's the issue about a friend of ours, a good friend of ours, a content creator who we worked with extensively, somebody who was very much active within our online communities. We're not hiding any of that. We're not trying to brush anything under the carpet. And we're certainly not disavowing this guy. We're not throwing him under the bus. And anyone who's saying,
wait until the end. This is the most hilarious part. Wait until the end, right? We're not throwing him under the bus.
and we're doing that, it is lying. I'm absolutely not. I'm saying that I'm not. I'm in touch with his wife on a regular basis. I've been speaking to her today. I've been in touch with his legal team, and I've been in touch with him whilst he's been in prison, and he still is in prison. And we're obviously talking about Charlie Big Potatoes. We'll refer to him as Charlie because that's what he was known as in the community. His real name is obviously Christopher Kearney. That's been in all the newspapers recently, and he is currently on remand, and he has just entered a guilty plea for the dissemination of articles, written articles that could inspire terrorist activity, and he's entered a plea of recklessness. That's what he's pleaded guilty to. There's there's a several tier system, and there is guilty with intent and guilty by recklessness. He's pleaded guilty to recklessness. He's held his hands up and he said, look, I shared the link. I didn't know what the link was. I wasn't aware of all the documents in that link, and I did it recklessly. That's what he said.
Right. Okay. So I want to interject here. This is the first kind of hurdle. I actually looked up the recklessness definition in the English law, and this is the kind of like the first lie that Mark's telling. When he says, "Oh, he's making a plea of recklessness," he didn't know what was in the documents. If you plead recklessness in a court of law, you are basically saying, "Yes, I knew that the act was." You've pleaded guilty, so you are guilty. So you're saying, "Yes, I know what I did was wrong, but I did so recklessly without thinking about the consequences of my actions." Right. Now, the prosecution is going to then claim that no, it's guilty of intent. So for this to take effect, you need to both have in mind and in the action. So the prosecution now are going to try and prove that it is in intent, that he knew what he was posting and he did it on purposefully, right? And how are we going to do that? Well, they'll probably bring in surrounding evidence, which we've just heard one of, shall we say. That could be considered, evidence of his fanaticism, and, his support for, shall we say, extreme means. This will be, considered mindset evidence in some cases, which they will use to, well, prove intent. I mean, that's all the prosecution now has to do is prove that he intended to. He's already said that he has recklessly done it, meaning he is conscious of the act. He just wasn't. He didn't stop himself, basically, from committing the crime. Basically, this is what they're now going to prove, that he didn't stop himself from committing the crime.
Okay. Now, I know that some people will say you should never plead guilty. It wouldn't be my intention to plead guilty, but this guy has been held in Spain for months. He was then deported, brought to the UK. He has been held in the UK in some of the strictest conditions I've ever heard of. I've spoke to his solicitor, who's told me.
Right. Okay. So why wouldn't you plead guilty, Mark? You understand what he's going through. Why would you not plead guilty? I don't understand. You seem to think you know why he's done it. So why would you not do the same, Mark? I mean, there are 89 documents that the prosecution are using against him. He would have to defend every single one of them on 2 counts, right? So it'd be, why did you post a link to these 89 documents in January? Well, Okay then, right? Okay, so you miss, you recklessly did you recklessly post a link to them in January? Okay, right. Okay, why did you do it again in March? Prosecution, I'll ask that. Why then, if that is the case, why did you do it again in March, a month later? That seems like intent, right? That would then go on to prove their intent. So Mark's saying, well, he understands why he's done it, but he wouldn't do it himself. I'd like to know why. Why can you clarify that for us, Mark? Be interesting.
That he isn't even allowed a chair in his cell. They've taken his chair away because he's not allowed a metal cell. Oh, sorry, a metal chair. He has had letters intercepted. He's had his letters that he's tried to send to people be destroyed. He has been cut off from his family, his friends. What they've done to him is disgusting. And they are acting as if he is a terrorist. Now, he shared a link on social media. And what his legal team have told me, what his defense is that fundamentally that link at its high point contained thousands of books. Amongst those books, there are a number of articles which are apparently illegal to share. And when we say illegal to share, the government doesn't have a list of things that are illegal to share. The government decides whether what you've shared is illegal based largely on who you are. So there have been cases where young lads have bought books that are available in W.H. Smith's, Waterstones, Barnes and Noble, etc. And if you were somebody of a liberal persuasion, you wouldn't be arrested for owning that book. You're arrested for owning that book because you have a particular political persuasion. And I think that is a real grey area in the law. And I've got to say to people, take on board what we're saying tonight. This is a very serious issue. If you're sharing something on a social network, be very sure of what you're sharing. Be very sure.
Interesting. Where was this a year ago when Charlie was first arrested? When we first heard about Charlie going to the big cell in the sky. Also known as Chelmsford, I guess. Considering where he lived. Where was this condemnation back then? We didn't hear it. You didn't tell your followers not to share stuff back then, Mark. Are you negligent of this? Are you negligent of like informing people of the dangers here? Because you weren't doing this a year ago, so why are you doing it now? Because, well, obviously you're spooked. You are literally shitting bricks, aren't you, of this? Because this is damaging. This is very damaging, and we'll get to your attempts to, poo-poo away the fucking, seriousness of what's going to happen now, right? Because this is it. This is, as I said, beginning of the end, right? You've well, let's continue.
Sure of the source and be very careful that what you're sharing doesn't lead back to a page that is full of stuff which you wouldn't want to be sharing. Now, I know that in a world,
well, you wouldn't want to be sharing. Okay, so you do it once. That's okay, right? We can say it, but twice. How many times do you have to share something before you wouldn't want to be sharing it, Mark? Right, and the thing is, like, if he's sharing it from a Telegram page that's got 10,000 books, right? It doesn't sound like you'd be able to like say, well, okay, again, defense. I didn't know about that. I didn't know they were on there. But then that's not a defense in court of law, and that's the problem. You can't really. There is no this. Oh, I'm being reckless. I'm sharing it from a Telegram page of 10,000 books, and I didn't know. There's no way in law you can say, especially with the seriousness of like what you're sharing, like manifestos and glorification of murdering people, right? And whatever else is on there. God knows what else is on there. There's only 4 of the 89 in the news reports. What are the other 85? I'm guessing, but I'm guessing there's going to be stuff like Chimeros, there'll be Siege on there, With all those kind of little things, maybe the anarchist cookbook, right? You know, there's going to be plenty of different, you know, other things that are going to be on that list, right? Manifestos, who knows? We only know 4, but yeah, you're saying, well, you know, it was reckless. You know, you can't plead recklessness. You're already done. So let's hear your cope then,
social media, that sharing, liking, amplifying things you agree with is something that is done by everybody. That is something that is a normal part of our life today. But when you're on social networks like Telegram, just be very, very careful. And I wouldn't share anything if it hadn't come from a trusted source. And this is what's got Charlie into this problem. As I said, he shared a link to a page that at its high point had literally thousands of books on it. But amongst those books, there were items that the state deems as illegal. Now, he has pleaded guilty. He's held his hands up and said, I shared the link. However, I did it recklessly. I didn't know what was there. I'm holding my hands up, but I didn't share it with any intent. I don't.
If he didn't share it with any intent, why did he do it twice? That's what you would say. Why did he do it twice? And why, you know, why is it a numbered list? That's the other point. Why was it a numbered list of 89 books? Why is it not a list of 10,000 books then? Why is there only 89 mentioned? Is that the prosecution taking it out of the 10,000? Potentially. It doesn't sound like it. It sounds like the list, if it's numbered, would be curated. It seems like it was intentionally done, in my opinion. Yeah.
Want to be accused of these things. He's claimed, you know, obviously, and I believe him. He wasn't trying to stir up terrorism. And I think the way this has been dealt.
He wasn't trying to stir up terrorism. Okay. This is from the guy who literally says, you know, are people willing to go to prison for their beliefs? You know, make the ultimate sacrifice. You tell me. You tell me if, you know, I believe him when he says he wasn't trying to stir up. The guy who literally believes in fucking race war, you know, the race war, right? This is it. This is why nationalism can't have nice things. It's because people like that, people who believe in the race war shit, people who want to fucking, you know, and I've seen it myself. I've seen people on Telegram post fucking like siege and that, and I've told them, fucking, what are you doing? You're an idiot. Like, I've seen people fucking even glorify fucking Breivik. It's fucking sickening. Like, these people, and this is it. He doesn't actually tell you also what Charlie posted, right? Again, why don't you just tell them, Mark, what Charlie had supposedly linked to? Maybe that would, you know, muddy the water a bit if people actually knew. You're just trying to make out, oh, it's just a few books that you can get on Amazon, you know, like you previously said. You know, oh, it's just a book from what you can buy in Waterstones. No, these you can't go into Waterstones and buy the fucking manifesto of Andreas Breivik, can you?
With tells you a lot about the kind of society that we are being shepherded into, where sharing something on social media, not knowingly, not with any intent, can lead you into a situation like this. And that's very, very worrying. And my heart goes out to his wife, goes out to his children. He has 4 young children. One of his children, the youngest, was born just months before he was arrested for this, and he's missed that young child's life. And I feel terrible for him. I feel terrible for his wife and for his children. This has caused immense damage to his life. And I think the way he's been dealt with, it sickens me. I think it's vastly, vastly disproportionate to what he's been accused of doing. I'll be honest, vastly disproportionate. But that is the world in which we live.
So what has he been accused of? He's been accused of disseminating terrorist propaganda. What is vastly disproportionate? Like, there is a set precedent for this. I believe it's like 4 or 5 years for dissemination of manifestos such as this. So, yeah, what is disproportionate here, Mark?
And obviously, I wish him all the best. I wish that he was reunited with his family. I wish his wife and his children the best. And I hope that he gets the right result in May when he's brought up in front of that judge. I hope.
So when he says, I hope he gets the right result in May, right? He's basically saying, I hope he gets the minimum possible sentence because he's going to prison anyway, right? That's the thing. He's going to prison. He'll be carted back off to Spain to serve his sentence there, right? But if he gets the wrong decision, if it is with intent, that's going to be a lot longer prison sentence. And, his family, his kids, they won't probably see him for another, I'm guessing, 5 years minimum. Like, because he shared books, manifestos to do with murder, violence, racial hatred, stuff like this. And he did it all under the PA while he was a member, right? And that's important, remember this. He did this while he was in PA, while he was the fitness officer. So, while he was doing that, there are other groups that have gone down for less. And this is what's going to be so easy to because what's going to happen. The left-wing guys, they're going to cry, "Oh, you've banned National Action for this." That's a lot less than having a now admitted disseminator of terrorist propaganda within their ranks, right? They had none of that. National Action did have none of that, right? But PA do. So this is why it's serious. This is very serious. This is why they're fucked.
The judge sees this for what it is and releases him for time served and acknowledges that although he shared that link, he did so recklessly and without intent. And as I said, I am not disavowing the guy. I'm not throwing him under the bus. I want him to be back with his family, and my heart goes out to him, his wife, and his children. Would you like to add anything, Laura, before we go to the next part?
Yeah, a few things, but really quick. First of all, I think the laws in this country are disgusting. First of all, if certain books are illegal, they should make public what books are illegal. But obviously, they don't want to do that because they want to be able to trip us up and say that there's a massive far-right terror threat when there isn't.
Well, okay. So here's the problem, right? I understand why the state do it. Yeah, Laura's probably right. It's to catch people out, right? But here's the thing. If you think it's okay to share manifestos of people who have literally murdered people and children, by the way, if you think that's okay in whatever circle, right? It doesn't matter if you're left wing, right wing, centrist, whatever, right? It doesn't matter. It goes without saying that you're a dickhead if you fucking think that that's okay. You are a class grade A knobhead if you fucking think that that's okay. So yeah, it's kind of a moot point to say, well, we need the government to tell us what we can and can't post. Oh, so so if they don't put fucking say the government don't put Andreas Breivik's manifesto on there, oh, that's okay, then we'll just go share that around now. Fucking hell. Is that what you're saying? You want some clear-cut thing for you to post the most edgiest shit possible? Is that it? Or do you want to take some, actual fucking common sense and bloody, initiative here and say, hold on a second, this is wrong. This is disgusting shit. Why do I need a law to tell me not to post this shit? Is that what you're saying? You need to be told what to do, Laura. Fucking hell.
Secondly, I don't blame Charlie for pleading guilty because he has a missus and 4 children, and I think his youngest is probably about the same age as Catherine. And just imagining Sam not being with Catherine for the last year, I know that he'd want to get back to her. So Charlie obviously wants to get back to his missus and his kids. Things might have been different if he was free now and he was, up for a fight, but I don't think we should blame him for that at all. And lastly, and I think Charlie will agree with me on this, I think this needs to be something that we all take on board as a lesson with regards to sharing things online. We're not bad people, we're not terrorists, we don't condone violence or anything like that. However, they will try to trick us up if we accidentally share something without looking at every single thing on that link. So just be careful with what you share. Don't share book depositories, don't share links to people's Telegram channels if you don't know who those people are. Don't share links to websites if you don't know what's on that website. The PA website is safe because everything on there is edited by us. Our Telegram channel.
That's interesting. That'll come back to bite you in the ass, won't it? The PA website is safe, guys. We'll get onto that in a minute.
Are safe because we have a code of conduct, but they're desperate to trip you up. They want you to share something that has an article on it from 15 years ago that someone you've never heard of wrote, so that they can say, oh, you're a terrorist because you shared that website and it's got that article on it. So let this be a lesson to us all to be extra careful with what we're sharing and double check, because they do want to misrepresent us. And I think Charlie will agree with that, and I think he'll be quite happy for his experience to be something that teaches us. But I wish him all the best.
Hey, isn't that what I've been saying for a long time? I want this experience to be a teaching experiment too. I believe this should be an example to everyone else. Hey, Laura agrees with me. Fantastic.
Best, and under no circumstances are we throwing.
That's right, Charlie. You should be an example of what not to be, of what a nationalist shouldn't be, right? That's what it is. Laura agrees, right? It should be a learning experience. But she didn't mean it in that way, did she? She didn't really mean that, Charlie should be, castigated like this for, his stupidity, he's a grade A knobhead, isn't he? But yeah, I'm glad that we can find some common ground here and agree that, this should be a learning exercise for all people in nationalism, right?
Throwing him under the bus. It's disgusting, really, what's happened to him. And hopefully he can get home to his family soon. That's it.
I agree. And now I want to talk about something else in the wider context. Obviously, we are now going to get all of the trouble causers, the vultures, the liars, people who misrepresent what we say, editing all this together.
Citation needed, because I know who he's talking about.
And saying that we are now linked to this dangerous terrorist and we're going to be proscribed and there's precedent for proscription. Look what happened to National Action. So I'm going to now...
Hi!
I'll do about if you don't mind, if you're here for this, I hope you'll work with me. I'm going to do a 15-20 minute discussion on this and explain a little bit of the history of nationalism in regards to this kind of thing, genuine precedent. And then I'm going to talk about PA as a group. I don't believe we're going to be proscribed. And if anyone ever tried that, we would fight that through the courts. I know how much that would cost. There are people going around online claiming it would be hundreds of thousands of pounds. It doesn't cost that for a high court injunction. People saying that are imbeciles. They don't have a solicitor. I have a solicitor. I talk to solicitors and I speak to people who know what they're talking about. But I don't think we are going to be proscribed. Now, let's go back to the days of the British National Party first.
Here we go, lads. Right. Get ready for this.
I was in the British National Party. And when I joined the British National Party, the leader of the party had appointed a man as his second in command. That man's name was Anthony Lacombe, known as Tony Lacombe. I know Tony. He's a pleasant guy. He's a nice guy. But Tony Lacombe, as the BNP's second in command, its group development officer and one-time national organizer, he was a man who was convicted of a terrorist offence, who served time in jail for terrorism, and he committed that act while he was a member of the party. And what did he do? It wasn't sharing a link on social media. It was making an explosive device which exploded in his car as he ate a KFC on his way to launch that device at a left-wing bookshop.
Lovely guy, that. Great guy. I know this guy. He's lovely. He's a really nice guy. By the way, yeah, he tried to throw a fucking bomb at some bookstore. Oh, such a wonderful person, Mark. But let's talk about Mr. Lacombe, shall we? Because it's very interesting. Now, I'll let him finish, but he's going to go on to say that, well, you see, BMP, we had people who made bombs, and we didn't get prescribed. Well, there's a reason for that.
Now, he was a member of the BNP when he did this. He was still a member of the BNP when he came out of jail, and he served as a leading member and paid employee of the party with that conviction. Were the BNP outlawed? No, they weren't. What's more, Dave...
Right, okay, let's get into this then, shall we? There we go. I'll minimize that so I don't lose the place, and let's find, here we go, explosives. Okay, so this is from the CPS. Okay, right, so here's the thing, Mark. You're saying this Tony Lacombe guy, he was the one who went to throw a bomb and it exploded in his car. This was in the 1980s, right? This is where he's going to get you. Mark's trying to claim that because of an act done in the 1980s, before the Terrorism Act of 2000 came into force, in which, from that point onward, proscription became a legal means by which the government could use. All prescriptions of all organisations in the United Kingdom only happened from 2001 till today. This happened in the 1980s, which Mr. Lacombe, once he went to prison and was charged and convicted, would have been charged under arson, right? Here it is, definitions. Okay, where is it? So, changing practice, constitute, prosecute, Terrorism Act 2000. In any case involving a possible charge under the terrorism legislation, Terrorism Act 2000 and 2006 shall be referred to the counter-terrorism unit. And if your case involving explosives, possibility of prosecution under the counter-terrorism legislation will arise. Terrorism Act 2000-2006. When did Lacombe blow people up? Well, attempt to blow up a bookshop? That was in the 1980s. Yeah, that was in the 1980s. I don't actually have the link to his thing. I probably could find that again if I just googled it. So yeah, so Lacombe basically he tried to blow up a bookstore in the 1980s. He was charged under the arson because guess what? Terrorism Act was not around then. So when Mark says that, oh well, the BNP they weren't outlawed, well guess what? That's because the Terrorism Act had not come into force yet. He's trying to do a bait and switch, isn't he? This has got Collett saying, well, look, see, even the BNP, they had extremists, but there was no Terrorism Act then, right? There we go. So, yeah, he would be charged under arson in the 1980s. Changing practice. Is it the changing practice? Covers offence, it should be not used. 1883. 1977. I think there's a history of it. Ah, yeah, okay. So, 1980s, here we are. Okay, so it would be Criminal Damage Act, 1971. He would have been charged for arson. Yep, so 1971 was basically Criminal Damage Act, Explosive Substance Act, 1883. That's even older. And that wasn't really changed until 2014 and 2000 under terrorism. So, yeah, Mark's lying to you. Let's continue, shall we?
Copeland, the nail bomber, who killed several innocent people with nail bombs, was also somebody who had attended BNP meetings. He was somebody who attended British National Party meetings and on his arrest had British National Party literature in his house. Now, were David Copeland and Tony Lacombe reasons for the BNP to be proscribed? Their crimes far more serious than Charlie's? No.
Right. Okay, let's go on to the next dude. So Copeland, right? The nail bomber who did a spate of nail bombings over 3 weekends in 1999. Yeah, here we go. So let's read this, shall we? London nail bombings in 1999. Series of bomb explosions in London, England over 3 successive weekends, 17th to 30th of April 99. Homemade nail bombs were detonated respectively in Brixton in South London, Brick Lane, Spitalfields and East End, and the Admiral Duncan pub in Soho in the West End. Each bomb contained up to 1,500 4-inch nails. In holdalls that were left in public spaces. The bombs killed 3 people and injured 140, 4 of whom lost limbs. On May 2nd, 1999, the Meteorology's Terrorism Anti-Terrorist Branch charged 22-year-old David Copeland with murder. Copeland, who became known as the London Nail Bomber, was a neo-Nazi militant and a former member of 2 political groups, the British National Party and the National Socialist Movement. The bombings were aimed at London Black, Bengali and LGBT communities. Copeland was convicted of murder in 2000 and given 6 life sentences. Okay, so he says, David Copeland's political views. Okay, so Copeland joined the far-right British National Party in May 1997. At the age of 21, he acted as steward of a BNP meeting at a BNP meeting, in course of which he came into contact with the party's senior members and was photographed standing next to John Tyndall, the leader of the party at the time. It was during this period that Copeland read the Turner Diaries and first learned how to make bombs using fireworks and alarm clocks as timers. After downloading a so-called terrorist handbook from the internet, Copeland left the BNP in 1998, regarding it as insufficiently hardline because it was not willing to engage in paramilitary action, and joined the smaller National Socialist Movement, becoming its regional leader for Hampshire just weeks before the start of his bombing campaign. It was around this time that he visited his family doctor and was prescribed antidepressants after telling the doctor he was losing his mind. Right, okay, so he joined the BNP, but then he left and he joined the National Socialist Movement. Right, so what Mark's saying, well, this guy was also part of the BNP. Well, he wasn't actually at the time when he was, carrying out his nail bombs. He was in the National Socialist Movement, right? So, again, another lie. He's trying to then say, well, look, this guy is dangerous, and he was part of the BNP. See, we weren't prescribed. Because also, guess what? 2000, that was before the Terrorism Act came into force, right? Fully into force. So there was no, and again, he was not part of the BNP. So of course the BNP would not be fucking prescribed because he was not part of that movement. He was part of the National Socialist Movement, right? So if anyone was going to get prescribed, it would have been them. But it was, that was not the case. He was arrested, and charged with, murder. Yeah, so there we go. There's another lie from Collett. And I closed that down, didn't I? So, let's go back to it. Fucking, where is it? Oh, it's up there. Now I've got to find it again. Shit, sorry. That's so much shit.
We're going to move. The media has reported on that. Has Paul Golding?
Sorry,
okay.
For this, I hope you days of the British National Party first. I was in the British National Party, and when I joined the British National Party, the leader of the party had appointed a man as his second in command.
Okay.
That man's name was Anthony Lacombe, known as Tony Lacombe. I know Tony. He's a pleasant guy. He was a member of the party when he came out of jail, and he served as a Tony Lacombe, reasons for the BNP to be prescribed. Their crimes far more serious than Charlie's. No, they weren't. They weren't. Were they representative of the party as a whole? No. But even if you go back to the BNP's inception, if you look at the man who founded the party, John Tyndall, he was a great guy, an amazing speaker, but he had a string of convictions, one for actually running a paramilitary group called Spearhead. Did that see the party outlawed? No. And I'm going to get to what does get a group outlawed in a minute. Now, similarly, there is Britain First. Now, are Britain First a terrorist group? Absolutely not. Are Britain First a legal democratic organisation? Yes, they are. Are they a registered political party? Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Have several people who have committed terrorist acts that have resulted in the death of people been found in possession of Britain First literature? Well, yes, the media has reported on that. Has Paul Golding been found guilty of an offence under terror legislation? Yes, he has. Paul Golding was found guilty of an offence which was covered under terror legislation. Does that mean Paul Golding is a terrorist? Absolutely not. He refused to unlock his phone in an airport when stopped by counter-terror officers, and he was found guilty in court under terror legislation. Is Paul Golding a terrorist? No. Would I ever call him a terrorist? No. Do I think calling him a terrorist is ridiculous? Absolutely. Do I think the two people who committed terrible acts after being in touch with Britain First, donating to Britain First, and having Britain First literature are indicative of Britain First as a party and organisation? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Organisations often have outliers attached to that organisation who do things that aren't in line with the organisation itself.
Are you trying to say that Charlie's an outlier now? I thought you were going to throw him under the bus, Collett.
And those outliers, especially in an organisation like Britain First, which has thousands of members, especially in an organisation like the BNP, which at its height had 14,500 members, those members or those associates of those organisations are not indicative of the organisation as a whole. These organisations weren't banned, and ultimately, those people committed, or some of those people I've mentioned, committed far more serious acts than Charlie. The people trying to spread rumours, or the media talking about proscription, they're obviously trying to scare people away from PA. Now we are going to go on to an organisation that was banned, National Action. Now, National Action, before they were banned, they had a member called Zach Davis who walked into a supermarket in Mold and attacked a Sikh man, an Asian man, with a knife with the intent to kill him. Did that get National Action banned? Well, it didn't, but that was a very, very serious incident. National Action also had some of the most degenerate people to ever grace nationalism involved with them. One named Ryan Fleming. He was a convicted child sex offender when he joined National Action.
Yeah.
He was a member of the...
Wait, hold on. Didn't Morgoth, one of your pals, Morgoth, didn't he actually like stick up for him once? Yeah, he did actually. Yeah, funny that.
Order of Nine Angles, the satanic group. All of this was tolerated in National Action. And by the time he left National Action, he left because he was rearrested for a second child sex offence, and he was locked up for a longer period. So this is a double child sex offender, member of Order of Nine Angles. They were the kind of people that had got involved with National Action. But did that get National Action banned? No, it didn't. The leader of National Action, Ben Raymond, was a pervert, a degenerate, and a sicko. He put things on his website which were absolutely disgusting. He uploaded a picture at one point of a Jewish man being forced to perform a sex act on a skinhead. That kind of thing is disgusting. It does nationalism no favours, and it paints him as a sick individual. Did that get National Action banned? No, it didn't. What got National Action?
Well, that's hilarious. Someone can literally post Andreas Breivik and all the other nasty fucking atrocities committed by skinheads, as you'd put it, Mark, and that's okay. But this guy, who I'm led to believe, and I've seen evidence of, that you actually know that actually this guy who put this image on that website was not the person in this video that you're complaining about. You also seem to miss out other people that seem to be associated with PA who are from National Action. Alex Davies, he was the other co-founder. He was part of your organization in the Wales branch, I believe. Yeah, you missed that battle, Mark. Why is that? But
banned was the following. They, as a group, as an organization, were in the process of characterizing themselves as terrorists and of glorifying terrorism.
And what did Charlie do? What has Charlie said all across Telegram and the internet? I want a cult. I want fanatics. I want people who are willing to die for the cause. I want people to be willing to go to jail. I want them to make the ultimate sacrifice. These are what terrorists say. These are fanatical people. This is the ideology, right, of a terrorist, being a fanatic. Why are you trying to give Charlie a pass? If these guys in National Action did some fucking stupid shit and fucking, yeah, they're fucking idiots, right? I don't agree with their ideology. I don't agree with the bullshit that they did. Yeah, terrible. You're right. But why are you giving Charlie a pass? He's done exactly the same shit you're condemning these guys for, right?
They were in the process of making a documentary about themselves called Inside the White Jihad. I'm not going to do the salute. I'm not going to show you what it is, but their members were regularly photographed doing the ISIS finger salute. They were calling for white Sharia, and numerous members and associates of the group dressed in skull masks and posted up things on social media referring to themselves as the white ISIS. There was also numerous social media posts by leading members and official accounts which depicted in cartoon form the murder and abuse of people from other ethnic groups. And finally, the straw that broke the camel's back was in the wake of the Joe Cox murder, which was obviously terrible. We don't want to see anybody killed. We want to deal with this in a democratic and peaceful manner. The leader of the organization changed their website to read National Action and then followed that with the quote, "Death to traitors, freedom for Britain," which is allegedly what Thomas Mayer, Joe Cox killer, shouted as he murdered her. They put that as the banner headline on their website, as if it was their call to action.
Right. Okay. So this also is kind of like, okay, right. So National Action put up "Death to traitors," freedom for Britain. Mark, in your recent speech in was it Leeds on one of your little demonstrations, you literally are calling politicians parasites, and we need to get them off their back. We need to stop them replacing us. We need to replace them before they do that to us. How is that not exactly the same as what was on that website? How are you not exactly echoing the same sentiments that were put on that website? Death to traitors. Oh, we got to get rid of these parasites. We got to replace them before they replace us. It's exactly the same rhetoric you're using, and you're condemning. I mean, rightly so. You know, it's a stupid motto, but you're doing exactly the same shit. How is this not for fucking all to see? You're doing exactly the same shit as you condemn National Action. You have become National Action. And you know what? You have an admitted terrorist now in your ranks who you cannot deny, and they didn't at the time of their proscription. You're right. They had knobheads who fucking go and like attempt to murder people. But you now have someone who's admitted to terrorism charges. That guy was probably charged under, serious bodily harm, right? For murder, right? It wasn't a terrorism act. Why? Because he wasn't sharing links to other people to potentially commit terrorist acts themselves by being inspired by, right? With these literature. Well done, Mark. You're just exactly the same now, right? Same rhetoric. So what are you on about?
A rallying cry. That was clearly a case of the glorification of terrorism, and it was done on a group-wide level. The organization was doing that as an organizational choice.
Right, 1770. I'll remember that. I'm going to play you the Leeds demo in which Mark says this. Right? Let's see this.
Please welcome Mark Collett.
Britain is full, and next time you go to the polls, next time there's an election, next time these parasites knock on your door and ask for your vote, send them packing. Yes. Tell them that you've got no love for them. Tell them they're not gonna replace you. Nope. We're gonna replace them. Vote the parasites out. Thank you for being here today. Spread the word.
You don't see the same rhetoric there, Mark? Exactly the same lines. Why you saying you're covering for the democratic system, and yet you're calling MPs parasites. It's you know, I give it, you're very subtle, but it's the same rhetoric, right?
We're going to move on to another issue.
1707. Let's go.
Organisation was doing that as an organisational choice, and that's the difference between an organisation that gets banned, National Action, and organisations like Britain First or the BNP, which had several troubled individuals who had at one time or another been associated with them, who had gone on to do things which were terrible. And there is a big difference. Now, anyone telling you that what Charlie Big Potatoes has done is anywhere near on the scale as what I've just said is lying to you. And they are lying for a reason. They're lying because they're either bitter and don't like what we're achieving, or they're lying because they're getting paid by Hope Not Hate or MI5, or they're getting their beer tokens from some anti-nationalist group. And do not underestimate the depth of the pockets that these organizations have and the reach they have in paying malcontented individuals and bitter, twisted freaks who circulate in the dark corners of social networks, grumbling about what good nationalists do. Do not underestimate the influence of groups like Hope Not Hate and the security services on those kind of individuals. So I can assure you, what I've told you tonight is all to the best of my knowledge true. I'm telling you the defense that Christopher Kearney, Charlie Big Potatoes, has put in, and I'm telling you we're not disavowing him. I'm also telling you that I find his treatment disgusting, that he is a...
But you said earlier, Mark, you're not disavowing him, but you said, you know, one troubled individual won't bring down an organization. That sounds like a disavowal there. Right there, mate. Sorry.
Friend of mine, that I get on very well with his family, that I speak to his wife, and that I've supported them. I believe that he entered that plea because he felt it was the right thing to do, because he wants to be reunited with his family. And I believe that he absolutely didn't know what he was linking to. I also believe there have been a number of bad eggs in the nationalist cause who have done things in the past, but there is a big difference between the action of one outlier and what an organization stands for as a group. Now, I hope that answers any questions that people had, and I hope it paints a clear distinction between political groups that have unfortunately faced criticism over the actions of individuals and a group that was not acting in good faith and was promoting things which I feel were damaging to nationalism. And if people think I'm just saying this now, I can absolutely prove that I'm not. And I can prove this because when National Action were banned, I released a video on YouTube talking about why I felt they had done terrible things which would create an awful roadblock for nationalism in the future, because that was the first right-wing group in this country to ever be banned. There's only a handful. I think it's National Action and two groups that were classed as continuity groups of National Action. I think that's the only groups that have been banned. There aren't any others. So yeah, that's my statement on that. I hope I've explained.
Get ready for number 4 then.
That clearly. And remember, Entropy's open, Odyssey's open. If you want to ask me a question, you can ask a non-paid question on this topic. If it's a sensible question, because I haven't explained this clearly, or you've got anything to add, I will answer it. I'm not hiding from this. I'm not hiding from criticism. We've not done this hidden away on Telegram or in a.
Wait, hold on. You're not hiding away from criticism. You literally didn't mention anything about this until how many months after Charlie was arrested? Until he was actually confirmed to be like in a Spanish prison. You did not say anything about it, and even then you waited weeks because people were asking you about it. So are you hiding away from it, Mr. Collett? Are you hiding? Yeah, I think so. You jumped on it now because you've seen the headlines. You've seen every single fucking news outlet ram you over the coals, right? Rake you over those bloody coals, like with this, and they're all saying the same thing. You've got MPs now standing up after the Knowsley incident, blaming you, rightly or wrongly, right? They're blaming you for inciting that violence because guess what? You were handing out leaflets in the area weeks before. They can attribute you to that because of that, right? And that's what they're doing. That's what they've done, right? So anytime violence comes along that you've stirred up, with your leafleting, right? It can now attribute to this. And now they've got an admitted terrorists on the books for them to be like, look, these guys, they admitted to posting, should we say, unsavory material. And it's not the first person either. Who else is linked to Patriot Alternative? Alex Davies, ex-former member of National Action. Sam Mellier, ex-former member of National Action. According to a guy called, I believe it was Tony, wasn't it? Tony, the West Midland, was it West? No, it was Yorkshire organizer, I believe it was, yeah. Of National Action, confirming that, yes, Sam Mellier was actually, in fact, a vetted member, and that's why he turned up at that march in Black Bloc, right? Okay, so you've got all these scrupulous individuals. You've then got Dean Morris, also an alleged member of Patriot Alternative, who seemingly went around and deleted everything from said individual. I believe he contributed to a few things of yours, right? Yeah, he got, how long did he get? 20 years, did he? He was printing guns and shit. Yeah, so there are quite a few unscrupulous individuals in your ranks, Mark, and there's probably more. What about Sven Longshanks? Again, another one, James Costello, head of the creativity movement. You should really look into those guys. Those guys were dangerous and violent as well. And you've got, got him on the books as well. So you have all these people. You are ripe for the plucking, right? You are a plump fucking chicken. You're just gonna have your feathers picked now, right? This is, they want the security services. They want a foot in the door. Charlie just handed it to him on a plate. He wasn't even convicted. He admitted it. So he knows he's done wrong, right? But he's trying to play down the lesser charge. I don't think that's going to work because of, again, the mindset evidence against Charlie, the I want fanatics, and everything else he's posted online. He is a serial, as we would say in these circles, Fed poster. He has Fed posted his way through fucking Telegram. And in the 2 years that I knew of Charlie, I've seen him post some really stupid shit. And now the stuff I haven't seen, I saw later, yeah, it's fucking just what the fuck. I've seen him literally groom young men into National Socialism, as he said. You remember the guys Fallout? You remember A? You remember those guys, those young guys? Yeah, Charlie got his hooks into them, didn't he? Thankfully, they saw through that and have left. But yeah, Charlie isn't this beacon of shining light. He's just part of the quilt, part of the patchwork. So when you've got all this, you've got MPs, you've got calling for your prescription, and you have an admitted terrorist, what do you do now? What do you do next?
Backwater. This is on our main PA roundup of the month, and it gives all of you guys a chance to answer questions. And I just want to reiterate one last time, Charlie, we believe that he has been persecuted and wronged by the state for an act of recklessness, which I don't believe has led to any actual harm to anyone. And I just want that to go on record.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if harm has been caused or not. It's the act of sharing and, you know, fucking people who have. It doesn't matter if no one's done anything about it yet. It's against the law. That is the law. You cannot do that. And the section fucking, I think is it 5 to 7? The Terrorism Act? Can't do that. You cannot do that, right? But, oh, I believe, because I believe, Mark. You believe, do you? You believe he's done nothing wrong. Yeah, it's the same thing. I got the same thing from a few other people. Oh, well, he's not actually killed anyone, right? Therefore, he's not a bad person. No, he's just an enabler of stupidity and an idiot himself, because obviously if you post shit like that, you must believe it, right? And that's what the prosecution's going to prove, that, yeah, it was intended. He believes this stuff. And there's plenty of evidence out there to fucking say that he does, right? Fucking, so, yeah. These people are why we can't have nice things. And then you have people like Collett who will defend said people, right? And you want to follow them down the fucking drain, do you? Because that's where it's heading. He's not taking you down the garden path. He's taking you down the fucking drain pipe. So it's your choice. You want to fucking get off? Get off before you get any further, right?
Laura, do you have anything to add?
Oh gosh. So I haven't been involved in nationalism for as long as Mark, and I was kind of in the counter-jihad movement around the time that we voted for Brexit. But even during my time in nationalism, I've seen calls for Britain First to be banned. I've seen calls for the EDL to be banned, everything that Tommy Robinson's involved with. The far left do this, and people have been saying that we're going to be banned ever since we formed 3.5 years ago now. They've been saying, oh, Sam's allegedly linked to National Action. They're going to be banned. They're going to be banned by the end of the week. I think.
Laura, the amount of fucking, this surprised me. The amount of people from National Action in PA is enough for them to like proclaim it as just a continuation of the group. I mean, just read the court documents between Alex Davies and Mark Collett, you know, how they were planning to set up a new organization. That could be grounds for it to be considered a continuation. It could have been. Now, Mark left it a few years after, you know, that's where the website came up. When Mark Collett registered the website for PA, when do you think that was? PA was founded officially in 2019. Nope. The website was registered in 2017. Around the time he was talking with Alex Davies. Alex Davies ended up in the Welsh Regional Group. Weird that. Although he didn't go by his, obviously, official name because of his connections to National Action. He went by the name Defeat Apathy. He wrote for the PA website. Okay, so let's continue. There's only a little bit left.
They've done it by like maybe 20 or 30 times over the last 3.5 years. It isn't happening because the beliefs of millions of people are not made redundant by the actions of one crazy person. So, you know, we care about our people. We love our people. We're a non-violent organisation. We're a legal organisation.
But it's not just one person, though, is it? There are many different people who have been in your organisation that have done stupid shit, right? Who have a past. It's not just one person. Another, you know, conflation of the truth here from Laura.
And they're not going to be able to shut our organisation down because one guy in another country shared a link to some books. It doesn't work like that. And I will say, you know, the people on social media, there's a few of them, but they're very, very loud, who are scaring people, trying to say, oh, PA are going to get banned. These people are our enemies and they're obsessed with us, and they're saying it because they want you to believe it. And we're growing, you know, we're a massive threat to these people.
Problem is, if it's not a threat to you, Laura, and I'm guessing you consider me an enemy, if it's not a threat, why are you so bothered, right? If we're just talking shit, why are you so bothered? I mean, I warned you last year that they'll use this as a way to prescribe PA. And what's happening? Cogs are in motion now. It's only a matter of time, right? One more violent protest, who knows? That may be the tipping point, right? Just saying, you know, these enemies of yours, they were right.
And they hate us and they're obsessed with us, and that's why they're saying it. It's not because they really believe it, it's because they want you to believe it so you get scared and leave. But luckily, I think people see through it. And if you're on this ride now, if you're with us after 3.5 years, you know, you can probably handle quite a lot. You can handle all the media articles and all the names that you get called, and it doesn't seem to be having an effect at all. But we're not worried about anything.
Laura, you're not worried? Is that why without oh, Laura, without how many people turned up at your demo in Skegness? 20 people from PA, right? Everyone else wasn't a member. Yeah. When I've heard rumors of your organization's inability to get people to the front line, shall we say? You're having problems recruiting. You aren't growing, Laura. In fact, no, that's why you've had to hijack all these events all around the country. You are inadvertently also then smearing locals and their concerns as far right, therefore lessening the likelihood that MPs would listen to these people because, again, if you're labelled a far right, you know, neo-Nazi, you're less likely to get listened to. That's a sad fact. Cold hard truth, that, love.
I think Hope Not Hate printed something a week or so ago saying, ooh, in the ranks of PA, they're very scared about this. And it's like, no, we're not. You don't know what we're saying in the ranks of PA because you don't have anyone on the inside. So, yeah, we're not worried. And I agree with Mark.
Oh, no. Hope Not Hate don't have people on the inside. But I do. Dun, dun, dun. No, I'll leave it there. Right, okay, so what else do we have to go towards this? Right, so okay, so I'll play up the MP calling for PA to be banned.
I do have concerns, as the Minister is aware, about the involvement of far-right groups from outside of Knowsley, such as Patriotic Alternative, Yorkshire Rose and Britain First, in promoting that event and seeking to stir up racial hatred in our community and others. I would, Mr. Speaker, before concluding, like to put some questions to the Right Honourable Gentleman. First, does he share my concern about the involvement of the far-right groups I've already referred to in such instance, and will he consider prescribing them? Secondly, will he undertake an urgent review of the use of hotels to house refugees and report back to the House on the outcome of that? Third, as part of such a review, will he look at all...
Right, okay, there we go. MP is literally in Parliament calling people to be prescribed because of the violence caused in Knowsley. Whether you attribute it or not, that is beyond the point. It is another cog, a feather in the cap of your proscription, is it not? What else have we got? Okay, right, okay, so I was on about the, shall we say, the messaging as well. Do you remember this back from late last year? This was the PA Fitness. Shall we say? Actually, yeah. Let's bring up the first. Let's bring up where is the government prescription? Okay. So we'll go on to National Action, and then I'll play that clip as well. Right. So National Action becomes first extreme right-wing group to be banned in the UK. National Action has today become the first extreme right-wing group to be prescribed as a terrorist organisation. From the Home Office, Amber Rudd. Okay. Published 16th of December 2016. An order laid in Parliament on Monday, the 12th of December, to prescribe national action under the Terrorism Act 2000 has now come into effect following debates in the House of Parliament. As a result, being a member or inviting support for the organisation will be a criminal offence, carrying a sentence of up to 10 years imprisonment. National Action is an international group that established in 2013 and has branches across the UK. It's been prescribed following an assessment that it is concerned in terrorism. The group online propaganda material disseminated via social media frequently features extremely violent imagery and language. National Action also promoted and encouraged acts of terrorism after Joe Cox's murder. Home Secretary Amber Rudd said, "The Home Secretary, I am clear that the safety of the security of our families, communities and country comes first. National Action is a racist, anti-Semitic and homophobic organisation which stirs up hatred, glorifies violence and promotes vile ideology." It has absolutely no place in Britain and works for everyone. And that works for everyone. Prescribing it will prevent membership from growing and stop the spread of poisonous propaganda and protect vulnerable young people at risk radicalization from its toxic views. Decision whether to prescribe in particular organisation are taken after extensive consideration in light of full assessment of available information. Home Secretary took the decision to prescribe national action prior to the trial of John Mayer, who was convicted and sentenced for the murder of MP Joe Cox. Prior, so okay, so it was actually prior to the trial, so it didn't matter what would happen at the trial, they were getting prescribed, right? Okay. National Action becomes 71st organised club alongside 14 organised action to Northern Ireland, right? So okay. What we have here, so National Action, prescribing will prevent membership from growing. Okay, so yeah, potentially that's what they will be doing to PA. They will be trying to stop the spread of, you know, these events, your hijacking. National Action is a racist, anti-Semitic, and homophobic organization which stirs up hatred, glorifies violence, and promotes a vile ideology. Now, can you tell me what the fuck is there any difference between you and National Action? Collett? You have exactly the same views. You now promote and glorify violence through Charlie Big Potatoes. You are accused of stirring up racial hatred with your leaflets. You are labelled anti-Semitic and homophobic organisation and racist as well. You fit all of those criteria. On what grounds do you say that you are not in the same bracket as National Action now? And I'll play this clip, shall we? Okay, so I want to play this clip because I think it sums up, you know, messaging and everything. Let's play it. Now, so what we have here is PA's fitness club messaging. Embrace the struggle, right? You remember that? They seem to have pulled back on that a little bit in recent months and years. I wonder why. Do you know why? Because here's the thing: National Action were doing exactly the same thing. They were having their own little fitness doodads, and they were basically, you know, if National Action were doing paramilitary things, well, I'm sorry, but when you're, you know, what are you training for? When you say embrace the struggle, what struggle is that? You know, easy things to like knock you down a peg. Easy things knock you down. You know, what are you training for? You could be considered to be training for a, you know, some paramilitary thing. Why? Embrace the struggle. That's it. Your own messaging. Right? Completely easy win. Right there. Okay. What else have we got? So we got okay, yeah. Let's play Charlie, shall we? And do you remember this?
Our enemies are more than willing, both past and present, to go to jail for what they believe in. Some of them are more than willing to make the ultimate sacrifice for what they believe in. If the threat of the government saying, "Oh, those leaflets are naughty. You can't hand out statistics that inform the British public that they're going to be a minority by 2066. You can't do that." If the government decides to make that illegal, I know it hasn't in this instance, but say it did, would that be enough to put you off? Really, would it be enough to stop you letting your people know the demographic dispossession of your people from their nation? If the answer is yes, if you would literally consider stopping letting people know that they're going to become a minority because the government tells you it's illegal. Not that I would advocate for anything illegal, of course, but if the threat of jail is so abhorrent to you and so, someone's phone on the
Wait. Well, Charlie, mate. If the government make it illegal to like post leaflets, and then you're saying, well, I don't advocate for anything illegal. Well, you technically are then. You technically are actually advocating for illegal shit if the government make it illegal to do leaflets. But that's he can't say it on the live stream, but you kind of get the feeling that he's trying to say something else. It's not about the leaflets, mate. You don't make the ultimate sacrifice for a fucking leaflet, do you?
phone. If the threat of jail is such a terrifying prospect that you're going to stop dead in your tracks because you're doing something that isn't illegal, but the government may make it illegal and all the rest of it. If you are not willing to go to jail, then are you in the right fight? Because, like I say, and I'll reiterate the point, our enemies are more than willing to. And unfortunately for us, our enemies wield the power to persecute us from within the law. Basically, we have no political power, we have no social power in that respect. So,
we have no political and social power, they have all the power. So, what's he saying? What did he mean by that? Well, he meant, well, we have no political solution. There's So, when you need to post those leaflets, well, you've got to die for the cause, mate.
I'll boil it down to one sentence. If you're the type of person that's going to wobble at the first sign of trouble, then is your heart really in this fight? Do you really care about your people?
Today, I'm going to talk about...
So there we go. That's all I've got to say on it. That's it, really. Proscription's looks likely on the horizon for Patriot Alternative. We did warn you, but in the end, if you don't want to listen, well, that's your thing. And I've reiterated for a long time now, if you're still in it and you don't see this as the biggest red flag, enjoy Proscription. Enjoy. That's all I can say. Well, until next time, see you in May.